Spoilers. What's up, guys? Doug the Pencil here, and here we're going to do a breakdown / discussion and analysis on the spoilers for chapter 262 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is known as the decisive battle in the uninhabited demon-infested Shinjuku, part 34. And, ladies and gentlemen, this chapter's interesting. It's very interesting. Interesting in the same way that, like, food that's about to expire is interesting. Where you know you're going to eat it. Especially if it's one of your favorite foods. But you also know there's a 50-50 shot that that expiration date is wrong and it's been expired. You'll see what I mean in a little bit. So let's not waste any more time and let's hop right into it. Editing me, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact. Do I talk about the color page? I mean, I have time, but I do want to talk about them in, like, but then again, like, none of this is gonna get trust. I think nah. I'll save the color page discussion for the reviews themselves, just because they'll be cleaner, and I'll have better images, and I won't have to, like, desaturate them entirely, so I can actually talk about the color in them. If anything, once the reviews come about, the opposite of that, I'll super saturate them. But short thoughts on the color pages that Gege drew up for this chapter, and not in just this chapter, for Shonen Jump this week. Very nice. Once again, Yuji letting a black flash on the cover is very nice. I do like the characters who appear here. Kind of ironically enough, like, all the major... Well, not necessarily all the majors, but some of the big major contributors in the arc so far, based on their size, too. Like, Yuta and Gojo both get really big flashes, and we know where these ones are from. This is when Gojo was casting the multi-blue. This is when Yuta first opened his domain expansion. Choso, I believe this is when he was initially firing off at Sukuna. And this Maki panel. Oh no, editing me, wake up, editing me, fix that, editing me now, hold on. I must take a note for future me. I know future me is going to be like, oh, this fool, this idiot, imbecile, how dare he wake me up this early. But I got to do what I got to do. But with it being the case, and this is not color page. Oh, even Toto here. I didn't even notice Toto was there. That's my bad. But Toto clutching up right here. This is also from the start of a chapter. It's the start of chapter 260. I think 260? Yeah, it's 260 flat, because that's right before 261 where the big punch out happens. So, and then this Maki image, I want to say this is her actually getting black flashed. I don't like that it's that, but I think that's that. But it's a nice calm little color page. The next page, once again, it is this beautiful, and I mean beautiful, drawing of Gojo and Sukuna, or of course Goda and Megura. I'll admit something looks off about both of them. Once again, I'll go more in detail in the actual review when the images are slightly cleaned, and I just have more time to look at them. But something about it looks... and, like, don't get me wrong, I know that Gojo in particular is meant to look extra off, because it's not Gojo, it's Yuta, and there's... Like, if there's one thing that JJK has been trying to answer and also just tell us, it's that Gojo Satoru is Gojo Satoru, not just because he's the strongest, but also because he's literally Gojo. Meanwhile, Yuta Kotsu is just a pretender, wielding his body like a flesh puppet. So, we'll lean with it, and we'll rock with it, look a little bit weird, but Sukuna has no excuse to look this way. I don't know, I think the main thing that catches me off guard about Sukuna is... Hold on, let me see if I can help editing me out. I know he's already mad, but let me see if I can help him out just a little bit. I think the one thing that catches me really off guard about Sukuna's look here is the size of the facial mask. Like, it just looks small. I'm not sure, especially, like, considering, and don't get me wrong, I get you gotta have the, that hit the, like, I understand the importance of a jawline. I don't got one, that's why I have a beard. But with that being the case, I don't know, the face looks, especially considering how Gege has been drawing the size of the eyes, especially considering ever since that lower one got knocked off, that upper right eye has just been gargantuan. So I'm kind of shocked that it's so small here. I think this is the main detail that kind of throws me off. I think everything else is fine. Once again, this is still beautiful artwork though. It's just that it seems like Gojo and Sukuna, or Gota and Meguna, are both like slightly off model in weird ways. And I know I'm one to talk as a person who always goes off model whenever I draw, but still, Gege. Something was up here, but still, Gege was definitely cooking with these color pages. And, you know, a nice little detail. I do like that. Oh, I guess I should address. Oh, I can address two birds with one stone here. Let's address the lighter one. Takaba getting the cover for Volume 27. I think that's neat. Once again, Takaba's whereabouts are kind of unknown. Like, we just don't know what he's doing now. Like, a lot of people, myself included, kind of just theorized he actually committed just a little bit too hard to the bit and, like, accidentally offed himself. Like, he thought it'd be funny if he ended up as a ghost and, like, he actually turned himself into a ghost. But, like, for all intents and purposes, he should still be alive? Where is he? Like, I know they don't fully understand the nature of the comedian, but, like, if he was able to do all that to Big Jaco, imagine what he'd do to Big Kuna. Especially since Big Kuna, unlike Big Jaco, likely wouldn't be able to do it now. He'd just be reality warped. I don't know, but I'm happy he gets a cover page. Or not a cover page, a volume cover. Especially considering, like, in retrospect, Takaba, just like Todo, is one of the more important characters of the narrative. Without that, Yuta wouldn't be where he is right now. He would have had to fight Kenjaku head on. And while Yuta could definitely probably still win that matchup, especially now knowing all we do and with James Ladd and stuff like that, it still would be much more annoying. It would take the trump card that we're currently exercising off the table. So Takaba's really, really clutch in the narrative, despite being a character who is in maybe 5% of it. And I think that's being generous. But for the popularity poll, Gojo won. I wonder why. Not even just because it's Gojo, but also, like, obviously, I believe this popularity poll started around the start of Gojo's unsealing, which now is, like, nearly 2 years. Jeez, has it almost been 2 years since Gojo's been unsealed? Has it? Because he falls in September of last year. Maybe it has been 2. Maybe it's been no, because a full year ago, Gojo vs. Sukuna started. Because I remember the people were pointing out the parallels that Gege did with the Domain Clash starting then, and I think the Domain Clash starting when the new Domain Clash began. So I think Gojo may have been unsealed a bit over a year ago. I don't think it was actually a full year plus ago, like near 2 years. I don't think that's just the case. At least not yet. But that being the case, it makes sense. If all those volumes are starting to come out, he's already a fan favorite character. He finally got freed. He had to fight with Gojo, with Sukuna. Yeah. Of course, he's gonna be number one. Usually, number 2 makes me happy. It brings a smile to myself. Obviously, it'd be like, well, Pencil Man, he's the main character. But like, the way people be hating on Yuji, you'd be hard pressed to believe they care that man's the main character. They'd be slaughtering my boy. But Megumi coming in third is honestly the biggest surprise to me, because like. Like, don't get me wrong, I know the voting system is based on actually, like, I think it's buying Shonen Jump magazines in Japan and then sending in your vote. So, maybe it really is just Western discourse, but, like, while I've grown softer on Megumi, I still think they should have just offed him. Because, like, he wasn't worth all the lives that have been lost, or at least the lives that have been permanently damaged. But I guess maybe the Japanese audience just doesn't care. Like, even though Megumi has not been a sentient character for well over a year now. Like, I think he lost his sentience and his own free will back in, 213? We're on 261. It's been well over a year since Megumi lost his autonomy, but he still got third. The major side character, the main character, and the deuteragonist. They clutched up the top 3 spots. Obviously, though, I get it. Like, the only other character who's been featured prominently enough to probably grab your attention to a high degree is Sukuna. And, well, I've come to like Sukuna a lot. I know many other people like Sukuna a lot. I can definitely understand why they didn't end up voting for the main villain to be in top 3. So, good stuff. I'm interested to see the rest of the rankings, considering considering Mr. Okotsu. But with that, let's actually hop into the chapter itself, and why I find it a little bit like food that's about to expire. So we open up, and we do get to see that Gojo Satoru and Ryomen Sukuna have immediately said, but to be fair, we knew this at the end of the last chapter. They went domain for domain, band for band, bar for bar. However, I instantaneously have two questions. Number one, Toto, why did you not try to at least move a little? Like, don't get me wrong, on a meta-narrative level. And that's the thing. As much as I love to invest myself in narratives and, like, think from the perspective of the characters and do what it do from their perspective, yo, why is the Malevolent Shrine so small? Like, don't get me wrong, I get it to some certain degree. You may be like, so man, obviously the Malevolent Shrine so small because he needs to concentrate all that power into shattering the small ball limited void. That has to be the case, right? Yeah, but it's not like Yuji and Toto went far. It's not like they went far. Like, he could have just like, and it doesn't even have to be for long. We know Sukuna can change the conditions of his domain on the fly. It's absolutely incomplete. He can do that whenever a need be. So he could have just held out a little bit and then sliced Yuji and Toto ribbons. Because the thing about Toto is that it's revealed that he couldn't get to Choso and Yuji at the epicenter of the domain when Sukuna used it because of the distance. So it's very unlikely that if Sukuna had opened it up to the full, proper, crazy diameter of it, there's no way that Toto and Yuji would be able to escape, and then two of his top ops would immediately vanish off the map. But he didn't do that. He went for small slash for small ball. Like the chapter already kind of did something there. I'll admit though, I once again didn't really get to see much discourse on the chapter, even though the chapter was very, very short. I probably should have looked for some discourse, but I do like that Yuji and Toto were excluded. Mainly because, how do I put this in the nicest way possible? They would make it weirder than it already is, admittedly. That's the big thing. Because the way that Yuji and Toto being inside the domain clash would be, it couldn't just be Yuta choosing not to target them and targeting Sukuna. Because then the wild Malevolent Shrine attack would still be wilding out, so Yuta would have to activate his sure hit for them, but at the same time he activates the sure hit for them, they just get wombo comboed. And Simple Domain, while clearly potent, isn't nearly potent enough against Sukuna's domain, and probably wouldn't work against such a complex domain like Unlimited Void. So I do like the move here to make it so that Toto and Yuji are trapped outside. Now, admittedly, I do ultimately think they should kind of just take a couple... I hate to say this, take a couple of steps back, like move away, run away. Like now, even though they probably want to be there somewhat to help Goda, do that at a distance. Like once again, you're kind of back onto square one here, where Gojo's body is fighting against Ryomen Sukuna. Being there is only going to make him hesitate and make him get in his way. Now, of course, this isn't Gojo Satoru, but this is Yuta Okotsu. So like, and it's Yuta Okotsu and Satoru's body. So like it may not be the same space to be right. Y'all should like I don't know. The fact that they just stand there. However, speaking of standing there, I'm glad that Yuji pretty much immediately got back up on his feet. Like, obviously, a lot of 261 led into a whole bunch of gargantuan Yuji slander. So I'm very, very happy that Yuji just immediately popped back up. But once again, I am kind of hoping that he just... and just locks it. Like, I'm really hoping he takes the time to reflect on his new abilities, on his awakening, on his numerous black flashes, on the loss he just suffered. Like, he genuinely takes that, turns it into power, and begins to use it differently the next time he encounters Sukuna. Because, like, once again, hate to be a Debbie Downer, but, like, we both know Sukuna ain't making it. But with it being the case, or no, Goda ain't making it. Sukuna will make it. That's the difference. But with it being the case, a song will open in page. However, we do get to see that there are spicy little things to be done here. First things first, we got... Actually, no, let me do this. Malevolent Shrine versus Unlimited Void. Now, this is still the cobbled together Malevolent Shrine. this is the one that was specifically made under the conditions that Sukuna really couldn't hold his traditional domain nor maintain it, so he went very, very, very roundabout and sketchy with it. But now my question is, what's the cost outside of cursed energy now? I know it's revealed that a lot of his cursed energy... How do I put this? How do I put this? His cursed energy's back. Or at least it's still at Yuta levels. And because of his efficiency, he can cast domain unlimited times. But why is it this domain if his cursed technique is back to normal? Right? Like, shouldn't it just be the original one? And two, wasn't he only able to do this under very specific conditions? What happened to that? Like, well, then again, I guess the condition's still been met. He's still using the alternative hand sign. He's still casting in a very particular way. But, notably, he says he can just outlast... Well, one step at a time. We'll get to it. But, I've said it before and I'll say it again. This design for Sukuna's domain, even though it's not colored here, like, in the slightest, still... Beautiful. I really, really prefer it over the original Malevolent Shrine. And I like the original Malevolent Shrine a lot. I think it's very, very neat. But this 8-eyed beast with an eyeball in its mouth simply... Like... That's good stuff. It's peak quality design. And honestly, in a roundabout way, it fits Sukuna more. It feels like... Weirdly enough, due to the blazing nature of it, it almost seems lion-esque and like this gigantic mane that represents the might of the king. I really, really like it. Once again, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful domain. However, what ain't beautiful is them stompers. Go to put those away. What is this? Like I know Gay lately just forgot to cover like the tiny combat slips on there. But like due to the nature of the image and the rest of the image looking so good, you kind of just have Gojo being like, oh no! I forgot my shoes at home. I'm barefoot fighting. Like, he's literally saying, if you ever see me in the forest with the grizzly bear, help the bear. Like, crazy. But with it being the case, we get it explained. Like many predicted, and what was kind of automatically assumed at the end of last chapter, Goda is using the exact same method that Gojo did in order to counteract Malevolent Shrine. He's very specifically using small ball, miniature domain. He's breaking the laws of physics, using what he saw Gojo do to fight the King of Curses. Essentially just giving himself a 3-minute barrier window. Once again, though, I know y'all are getting sick and tired of hearing it, but I haven't brought it up in a while, so hopefully y'all ain't too sick or too tired of me bringing this up. Yuta, why did you engage with him like this? Well, it's a two-step thing. One, I could get engaging with him like this to do something very particular. But we'll talk about that in a second. The primary one I want to talk about is Yuta, buddy, even with your domain refinement and your high-level abilities, now that you know that there's an effective range and upper limits of it, and you saw it firsthand, why don't you just warp out of there? I get it, he's on a time limit, but at the same time, so is Sukuna. Well, kind of in a roundabout way. But like, that's the thing, why not just immediately leave the premises? Because before it could give Gojo a pass, because, you know, I knew the limits on Malevolent Shrine because I read the manga. But Gojo didn't, so I get why he didn't teleport out, because he wouldn't know where to teleport to. Maybe he had to teleport to the other side of the planet, maybe he had to teleport down the street. But, with that being the case, Gojo should know. He should have all of Gojo's abilities, and he should know, okay, Malevolent Shrine, very, very dangerous. I can see it with my curse technique. That's really, really big. Let me just, yeah, I kind of just don't get it. Why would you not just teleport out? Like under any means, it's like, why would that not just be the first move? Like, I get... Here's the thing, right? If Gojo, or Goda, or Yuta in this case, plan to simply make it so that Sukuna couldn't use Malevolent Shrine anymore, then maybe that makes sense. But like, once again, the real question is, what's the mentality here? Are we slaughtering Sukuna, or are we still incapacitating him? Because regardless, a hollow purple from long range, safe from the range of the domain, would work out just fine. Sukuna can domain amp that bad boy all he wants. He's not adapting to it. Like, remember, all the things that Sukuna can do are more advantageous when he's inside his domain. Like that's just the nature of domain. So I'm shocked that Goda would still go for the same thing. I get it. Goda unlocked it, or Gojo unlocked it for scenarios like this against the open barrier domain, but I still don't think this is the smartest play here. If you are going to defeat Sukuna in one way or another. However, it seems like they're still not on timing, or at least to some degree, mainly because, at least in the rough translations I saw, Yuta is simply trying to make it so that he can't use Malevolent Shrine anymore. Why that even comes to mind doesn't necessarily make sense to me. I guess because Sukuna just pulled it out, and maybe Yuta got like word from everybody that he was using Malevolent Shrine again. But like, buddy, Pat, last time you were on the battlefield, Malevolent Shrine was not an option. That was like the whole thing. So why are you engaged? Like, I don't get why he engages in this way. Like, it seems like you throw yourself against a brick wall once because you don't know it's a brick wall. Fine. You throw yourself up against a brick wall twice because you know it's a brick wall. Or no, you know it's a brick wall, but you think you can break through it. Fine. You throw yourself up against a brick wall a third time because now you know it's a brick wall. Now you know you can't break through the brick wall, but you're just feeling like it. Fine. But Yuta, you saw your boss man get through this. I guess the only reason he believes he can do this is because he sees Sukuna in such a weakened state and says, well, if Gojo Sensei was able to beat him in a domain clash, I should be able to do the same thing. Dog, you should know better. And still, I'm bamboozled. Once again, I'll wait until the proper translations come out, but the fact that they're still on saving Megami is... I don't want to call it stupid, but it is ludicrous. Like, don't get me wrong. Let me not lie to you. I do not. It's not that I don't care for Megami. I'm very, very indifferent to Megami. Megami was starting to become an interesting character. I'm much more positive leading to where my massive neutrality was before. But Megami's not worth it. But here's the thing, right? Before I go into the whole idea of Megami not being worth it, I could excuse Goda going into Domain Clash with Sukuna if he did one thing immediately after that. If he immediately went for a certain something. However, that is not what transpires. We see that the narrator lays out they have 3 minutes. I think it's 3 minutes 11 seconds, 3 minutes and 9 seconds. But that's essentially before a limited void shatters. So Goda has the objective to shatter Sukuna to the point where he can no longer use Malevolent Shrine, damage him that much, and Sukuna has the intentions of slaughtering... Well, I think it's technically not slaughtering. He's technically just going to last against Goda until he can no longer use Unlimited Void because the barrier shell will break after the 3 minutes have passed, based on the previous encounters. Now, here's the thing. Once again, go back to my original point of, like, you know why you're directly engaging this man. You know this shouldn't work, or at least if it is going to work, it's very, very dangerous, and you probably shouldn't do it, especially on a limited time limit. But, two, I could excuse all of this if Yuta immediately went to Hollow Purple him, or Unrestricted Hollow him, or do anything Cursed Energy related. Mainly because, one, Sukuna has shown the capacity to survive that. So if we are really, and I mean really, really determined to still say Megami for some reason or another, even though the character's done nothing, and has cost Yuta literally his life in flesh, I think legit, that's the only excuse I could accept at this point. Why would you not just immediately Unlimited Hollow him? He'll live, maybe, and if he doesn't, womp womp. Once again, it's one teenager for the most ancient evil in all of history. Yuta, you may literally not be able to go back to your body ever, my G. Why do you not immediately Unlimited Hollow him? And why are you so concerned about just making sure you can't use Domain and not just making sure you can off him? Just get rid of... Like, once again, I don't consider myself like a heartless person, and I understand. Every single person there, to some degree, knows Megami. Well, probably not anymore. But actually, maybe because so many people have fallen. But people know Megami, and they probably do care. But like, call me Batman against Darkseid in Final Crisis. You done put the blade in my hand and not saying, but say, hey, Pencil Man, either you remove this blotch from the world or you let it live. I'm sorry, Lord Sukuna, but I gotta do it. So yeah, like I'm immediately and taking him up out of there. It's not worth saving him, and we know, what we know in Unlimited Hollow would do damage to Gojo as well. Shoot, it might as well just do it. That will definitely make sure he can't use the domain. However, we don't get that. We don't get a real explanation for why you didn't just teleport out the range of 11 Shrine and try a slightly different approach. We don't really get an explanation for why he may or may not be focused on defeating Sukuna and annihilating him from reality, but actually still maybe focused on saving Megami. What we do get is a proper interaction. Yuta goes to do something. What this is, I have no idea. I've looked at this for a little bit now, and I'm still, like, my brain's not placing anything other than, like, slight, and I mean slight reconciliations of, like, I think maybe Vegito's handed a little, but not even Vegito, because Vegito typically does the spiritual. So, like, I'm trying to think, where have I seen this before? But in particularly in JJK, the only thing I can think of is like Ryu and some of his blasts having that sparking effect. But I don't know. Goto goes on to do something, but then Sukuna's immediately in his face like, hey buddy, how you doing? But this does immediately raise a question. And heck, it throws the validity of one of my vision modes into question. How is Sukuna doing all this? Because for one, Sukuna also believes he can hold his domain for the 10-minute timer, for the 3-minute timer. But I thought he was only capable of maintaining a domain for 99 seconds. That's a little strange, ain't it? Like, I don't really get what that's supposed to be. But regardless, whatever it's supposed to be, my brain's screaming Ryu, but I can't really figure out what else it would be. Yuta goes to launch off a blast, but Sukuna's immediately in his face. And there, once again, comes to the question of, okay, Sukuna no longer has the 99-second time limit, I guess. He also doesn't have the limit of needing to hold the hand sign anymore, and he also doesn't seem to have the limit of not moving. Why is this? Was it like you pay the first time toll and now you don't have to do anything again? Like now, at this point, why does Sukuna not have his original domain design back? Like, he should, right? Why would he not have it back? Like, if he's capable of doing literally everything else with his domain expansion, why is it this? Does the manifestation or the appearance of the domain and its figurehead simply get reflected of the sign that Sukuna's using? Or maybe the brain patterns he's using? I don't know, but it seems so strange for Sukuna to essentially be back to regular in terms of domain expansion, but still be missing the 2 arms, still have this weird hybrid Shikigami thing as the lead head, and I don't know, it's kind of just strange. And also, I'll admit, a lot of the cool factor of Sukuna getting his domain back is kind of, I don't want to just say it's outright lost, but it's kind of lost because, like, at least before, it did come with limitations. It came with restrictions. At least those that were implied and those that were directly shown. But here, it just seems that Sukuna's fully back to, being big chatty Sukuna. That's a little, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Once again, I do sort of get it, once again, from a writing perspective. From a writing perspective, you kind of don't want Sukuna to have to, like, stand still or else Goto would mollywop him, right? But at the same time, like, now that he's just back to normal, it's a little whack. I get he's not fully back to normal, but still, in terms of domain, he might as well be. The only difference is the hand sign and the design of the domain. Everything else seems to be exactly the same, and Sukuna seems to have no drawbacks. He believes his domain will last for the full 3 minutes and not simply collapse within 99 seconds. He believes he'll be able to... Not even believes, he shows the fact that he's able to cast the domain fully, and it's still equal in refinement to Yuda's, to the point where neither of their sure hits overwhelm each other. And even with the high levels of curse energy that Gojo has, plus the success in their efficiency, and plus Yuna, his barrier refinement is still ultimately to the same level as Sukuna, to the point where none can immediately overwhelm the other. A little freaky deaky, I ain't gonna lie to you. Speaking of freaky deaky, but hilarious and fitting, I do like that Sukuna is using the nubs. Like, bro really said, you may have removed my hands, but you haven't removed my arms, and proceeds to just and wrap Gota's arm up in them, preventing him from charging up whatever that weird mysterious blast was, and reeling back with his fist. This is neat. Once again, it goes to show that Sukuna is kind of prepared for any adversity. Like, nothing can really cause him issues if he feels like it, to the point where he manhandles, once again, what should be a fresh Gota with absolutely no problem. He absolutely bypasses the infinity, grabs onto Gota, and reels back with his fist, and just lays a fat... Okay, let me not say it like that. Why not? Lays a fat one straight into Gota's jaw. Just hard and heavy. Knees weak, palms are sweaty. This Gojo on his sweater already. Shoka spaghetti, he's nervous. But on the surface, he's not calm and ready. He ain't dropping Las Bombas. Because he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking now. Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out. Time's up. Over. Blows down. Back to reality. Up. There goes gravity. Up. It's a calamity. Nope. He's so glad, but he won't go back to... That was just meant to be a JJK parody. I just went to tell like a lot. I'm sorry. But with that being the case, this is once again weird. Why? Okay. I kept bringing this up as I was talking about 261 and the implications of it and the utilization of Kenny's technique. We never fully knew. Like, we didn't get full data or information on how it worked. It's why I'm still a Kenny Coper in some degree, because who knows, maybe that 5 minutes will be up and Gojo won't take over, or Yuta won't fall over, it'll just be Kenny again. But why does Yuta seem so shocked that Sukuna can use domain implication inside domain? Like, dog, that should be one of your most recent memories. Like, once again, what does he not... Like, it's clear to some certain degree he has access to Gojo's memories, because he's able to pull off Small Ball. So why doesn't he remember what went on inside Small Ball? Like, am I tweaking? Like, why does he seem so bamboozled that he can bypass infinity? Once again, that's just going off the rough translations I have. And then even Sukuna apparently says something along the lines of like, yeah, see, you don't have the same knowledge, power aspect. But that doesn't make sense. That does, at least from how Kinjaku's thinking is established, he should have all the memories. Gojo, or Gota in a way, is technically an incarnated sorcerer. He should have literally everything the body has to offer. He already has auto infinity, he already has limited void. You mean to tell me he didn't know about domain and Sukuna? That's a little weird. I don't know. That's once again a little inconsistency, but that has massive ramifications. Because once again, I assume Gota may have acted different if he knew that was going to happen. But he should have known that was going to happen, so I don't know why he's so surprised. But still, he gets knocked back. And I think this is already showing a fundamental difference, not just between Yuta and Gojo, but also between Sukuna's true form and his Meguna form. Obviously, Yuta's still very, very new to the body, in spite of his soul training. I presume... How do I about this? I presume that maybe Gota has something up his sleeve, but the way this performance goes, it's basically nothing, right? It's just one punch. But the fact that it lands so cleanly and Gota gets staggered and drops to his knees, I think this does just innately confirm that. Satoru Gojo wasn't the strongest, or Satoru Gojo wasn't Satoru Gojo because he was the strongest, but he was the strongest because he's Satoru Gojo. Because getting knocked down and schlumped in one punch, admittedly by True Form Sukuna, but a super duper weakened True Form Sukuna, That's definitely given some individuals the ick. And speaking of the ick, we do have Rika with the Omega ick of her not boyfriend no more, and he kind of just. But with that being the case, this does kind of open the door for Yuta Resurrection. It looks like he's just controlling Goda remotely, or at least to some degree. Like, because unless this mark is meant to be where his head was sliced open to remove his brain to put it in Goda's body, then it seems like Kenny's technique may not be an innate brain transfer technique. But that also does feed into the theories that have been seen floating around that Kenny isn't in fact the brain, he is just the technique, and that Yuta may have set himself up for failure. But regardless, Rika is holding Yuta's or lifeless husk and crying tears. But that's the end of the chapter. And I'll admit, very, very short and very, very weird. I think characters like Sukuna is making the smart decisions. Obviously going for domain here is the play. Obviously fighting Goda head on is the play. Obviously preparing with something else behind the scenes is probably the play. But for this in particular, I'm really bamboozled on Yuta's plays, his lack of memory of the Gojo vs. Sukuna battle, despite having access to the memory of something specifically made in the Gojo vs. Sukuna battle, and the lack of restriction on Sukuna and his domain. I get he's domain amped and he's inside of it, but still, come on now, dog. Like, it's a funky little shit. And also, why isn't Rika helping? Why isn't Rika? I know she's still in with the original body, but like, Rika, I know that you know that I know that that's not really Yuta. Yuta's kind of in someone else's body. So like, Rika, go help him. I don't know. This is a funky chapter. I'll admit, this is a funky chapter on multiple different fronts. The opening part is clean, but the back of it is kind of just, yeah, that's a little something else. But those are my thoughts on the spoilers. Sorry, they've been rambunctious all over the place, up and down, up and down. I do want to save some discussion for the actual review when I actually have translations. I don't want to go too full in depth into the ideas, but you can take what I said so far and kind of extrapolate whatever extra opinions you would think I'd have. But I'd like to thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave Spirit Hug. Oh yeah, Spirit Hug in the comment section down below. I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notification bell so you not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do happen to have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. And so now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reaction to this very chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen, and free variations of all my videos. And if you come into a $25 Patreon and $25 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 25 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Golden Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members: Recliner Plays, Greyhound, Kids Void, Astro, Eternal Flame, King Sukuna, NMA, Real Rare, Paris Arnold, G Prosper, and Red Wolf 4765. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $5 patrons: Steron, Sean, Sammy, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Encarnacion, Josh Brown, and A+A. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $7 patrons: Autumn Mornings Lazo and Fine. And I'd like to give a thank you to our $10 members: Robbie Uchiha and Jay Warrior. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $10 patrons: Panda Goat, Metal Solid Crisis, Joaquin Munoz, and Joaquin Munoz, along with Idemokami. And I'd like to give a final gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Calvin Elder.